What really is the big deal with Sephora Kids? Just a general question. Like what's the deal with Sephora Kids? Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. Welcome to today's video. We're going to be talking about Sephora Kids. I have a whole document planned out, so I'm going to do my makeup. We're going to talk about Sephora Kids. We're going to talk about why is it such a problem? Why is the internet freaking out about it? And do my makeup as we do this. So before we get into this video, hi, I'm Staci. I feature unfiltered makeup opinions and honest reviews. So if you like that kind of content, if you like unfiltered opinions in general, leave me a comment down below and we're going to get into this video. So I have to pull up my document. I'm going to try linking everything in the description box down below. Guys, we know I forget. If you are new here, I do forget to link things in the description box down below, so please pardon me, but I'm going to try and remember what I'm putting on my face today. So what is going on at Sephora? What's going on with Sephora Kids? What's going on in parenting land? Sephora Kids has become such an issue that CTV News recently posted on their YouTube channel, but they also posted on their actual news outlet, they're ABC or CBS affiliates, and I will link that video in the description box down below for you guys. But a major news network has covered Sephora Kids and the impact that Sephora Kids has had on the retail giant Sephora. To give you guys a little background on what Sephora Kids is, it is kids that are, tweens, teens, so starting at 11, 12 years old, going up into the teenage years. It's young children who are coming into Sephora and they're destroying testers, makeup products, and they're really impacting the retail giant Sephora. And then the other side is the rising concern of this trend of kids going into the store, of going into Sephora. And the main reason why they are there is because they are incorporating this high-end skincare routine at 9 years old, at 10 years old, at 11 years old, at 12. The rising concern is that kids at this age should not have a very, what's the word? It's that kids are incorporating things into a skincare routine that's not made for children, that's not made for children at all. A lot of the product that is being purchased contains ingredients that are not made for a young audience at all, like 9, 10, 11, 12 years old. And some of these ingredients are also not made for people who are, in their teen years or even in their early 20s. And the rising concern is that kids are doing very harmful, they're doing damage to their skin. Why is this such a big deal? Honestly, after explaining it, I'm hoping that you kind of get the gist of why this is such a big deal. Number one reason why it's such a big deal is because kids are incorporating skincare routines that are not recommended for their skin, and it could be doing damage to their skin. And then two, kids are destroying Sephora stores for the sake of makeup and skincare, and they're not getting repercussions, and it's actually reflecting on Sephora. At the end of the day, you destroy a tester product, Sephora has to replace that product and they write it off as a loss, as a damage, but it's going to impact Sephora as a retailer because inevitably we could see a raise in prices. So it's definitely affecting two spectrums here. It's affecting the consumer. They're walking into a store and, it's just recently been destroyed, more or less. And then you have these kids who are incorporating these skincare routines that are not made for their skin at all. They're too little to be putting retinoids on their face. Retinoids are not made for a 9-year-old. They are made for people who are older. So those are the two things that make it such a controversial thing to talk about. If you guys don't know, I am a mom of two. If you're new here, I am a mom of two. My children are 4 and 6. And so coming from a parental perspective, this is my perspective as a mom. I haven't even done my makeup yet. What is going on? So my perspective as a parent, when I see this going on, I am finding that through my research, social media has had such a high impact on children, this generation of children. And as a mom, I have definitely seen that myself. I mean, my kids are 4 and 6, and they are not particularly subjected to social media because I'm very strict in that front, but they still are impacted by technology. They are impacted by, the ease of access to a cell phone or an iPad. And a lot of children are actually impacted by the ease of access to social media in general. And we're finding nowadays that children are receiving electronic devices younger and younger, whereas like when I was their age, there was no such thing as a cell phone. There was no such thing as an iPad. Like I literally, like there was no computer when I was a kid. Up until, the early 2000s, most households did not have a computer. They didn't have internet access like when I was a kid. And as of like the last, I want to say decade, we've seen this like huge like uptick in children being on social media. We've seen this huge uptick in children getting access to social media, to electronic devices, and social media has become way more readily available for this like young audience. And at the end of the day, in my humble opinion as a mother, having all this access to social media really is not healthy for somebody with a developing mind like that. Because if you have a child 9, 10, 11 years old who has a cell phone and they are going on TikTok and they're being influenced by all these influencers, they're going to be like, I need that too because this influencer that I follow says that I need this skincare product, but this influencer is older than you for one, and then at the same time, you're 12, slow your roll. So this might be an unpopular opinion, but kids under the age of 18 shouldn't have a TikTok. I actually thought that they had like an age restriction on like TikTok where you had to prove that you were like a certain age to be able to get access to it. I know at one point in time Facebook had that same criteria. You had to be 18 to be able to join Facebook. I don't know if they still have that, but obviously like a few years ago they did. If they still have those rules in place, like TikTok and Facebook were not designed for children to be using the platform. They have age restrictions for a reason. They have, you enter your birthday and there's a reason why. It's because they don't want, people of a certain age being on these platforms because there's information on there that just isn't good for a kid to see. But the truth is, there are a lot of kids who are on TikTok, who are on social media platforms that are not 18. They are under the age of 18. They somehow get access to it, whether it's just faking a birthday or, maybe they're using mom and dad's account. Who knows? But we have these children who are really underage on these social media platforms, and they are getting influenced by people who are in their 20s and 30s, or maybe some of them are even in their late teens. But we have people who are on the platform who are like really well-known influencers of 2024, and they're in their 20s and 30s, and of course they're talking about product that works for them. Like kids are not meant to consume that kind of content, in my personal opinion. Kids are consuming this content at a very, very, very young age because it's readily accessible to them. I mean, I don't really know what the age restrictions are, but kids are consuming this content because it is readily accessible to them. They have an influencer who is telling them that this is my skincare routine. They may be in their 20s, but that 12-year-old sees it and they reflect it. And that's what children do, is they reflect what they're told, they reflect what they learn, and they want to reflect, they've learned, this 20-year-old influencer says I need this, so I need it. So we have like social media that's readily acceptable. But then I also wrote another question in my document here, and it was, should kids be left to go shopping in Sephora alone? While it's understandable that there may not be a lot of venues for kids that age to like hang out right now, like there aren't. They don't actually have an outlet where they can go at that age to hang out, be active. Like they don't really have a place to hang out anymore, and they're flocking to Sephora because social media is influencing them and they don't have anything else to do. But at the end of the day, I also feel like it comes down to, should a kid at like 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, should they be allowed to shop by themselves? I know that it just depends on the parent. It also depends on the kid. When I was growing up, you were not allowed to shop by yourself. Like if you were dropped off at the mall, your mom was with you. At least my mom was. My mom was with me. My mom never let me go shopping by myself at that age, because at that age, developmentally, you're not able to make cohesive decisions and like keep yourself safe and be aware of your surroundings at like a 10, 11, 12-year-old age. Like you just aren't. So my mom never dropped me off at the mall. She never let me go shopping by myself or with my friends. She didn't like drop me off at the mall and then like sit at like the local coffee shop and drink like Starbucks or something that's inside the mall and just let me go shopping around the mall. She never did that either. Like if I was 10, 11, 12, 13, like a tween, she wasn't sitting at Starbucks drinking her iced caramel macchiato. Like she was with me. My mom was with me. And that's something that we've seen as a cultural shift in the past, like I want to say at least 10 years, where kids are part of the reason why kids are going to Sephora and they are making a mess is because they are being left to shop by themselves. They're not with their parents. So, should kids be allowed to shop at the mall by themselves at the age of 12? I mean, that's really honestly up to the parents' discretion, but this is part of the reason why we're seeing so many things happening, and it's not just at Sephora, I should say, it's also happening in other places as well, where we see kids who are shopping with their group of friends. They don't have a parental figure who is like, you shouldn't be doing that. You shouldn't be getting into this. And we've seen like a drastic cultural shift where kids younger and younger are being allowed to shop at the mall by themselves. The other big thing that came to mind when I was writing my notes was, do kids need a skincare routine? This is a really good point to make because technically your child really doesn't need a skincare routine until they are of an age where they're going through puberty and they're starting to get acne. They're starting to have skin problems. While it's good to start associating like a skincare routine with your kids, do they need such a vigorous skincare routine? No, they don't. At the age of 9, 10, 11, 12, yes, you're going into puberty, but do you need retinoids? No, you don't. If they're starting to show signs of acne, do they need a skincare routine? Yes, they do. So, coming from a place of like a parent knowing that you need to look out for the signs of like acne and acne prone skin, especially when they start reaching the puberty age. Yes, they need to incorporate a skincare routine, but there's appropriate things to incorporate into a child's skincare routine as opposed to an adult. Their skin is still maturing. Their skin is still very sensitive. They have baby skin pretty much. They have virgin skin. And when it comes to a skincare routine, they don't need something so vigorous and there's so many things that they should avoid. So I did do some research on what it means for a kid to have a skincare routine. What is the appropriate skincare routine for a kid who is like 9, 10, 11, 12, who's starting to show signs of acne? And through my research, the basic things that I came up with that a kid should have were their basic skincare routine. And this was something that was taught to me because my mom was also a cosmetologist. So, like, she was the one who taught me my basic skincare routine at that age when I started going through puberty. She taught my sister, she taught my brother, and that knowledge has been passed down to me. But then I also used the lovely internet to also look this up. Anyway, so the appropriate skincare routine. It is okay for a child at like 9, 10, 11 years old to have a skincare routine when their skin is starting to become more active, they're going through puberty. Like I said, like it's normal for a child to start into a skincare routine when they're starting to show signs of acne. The appropriate things for a kid that age, there's like three basic things that a kid can incorporate into their skincare routine because they have such virgin skin still. It's not mature by any means. And these are ways to fight acne, to help with skincare. And the first one is a mild facial cleanser. You don't want things with like micro beads, and you also do not like microderm. You don't want micro beads. Like I'm thinking about like the St. Ives scrub. Like you don't want something like that. A sensitive face wash. That's literally all you need. A sensitive face wash. Something that's mild, that isn't going to disrupt the skin barrier, that isn't going to hurt their skin, that isn't going to dry out their skin. And that's what kids need at this age. Something that's just going to remove the excess oil, the excess dirt, the things that are causing the acne to begin with. But it needs to be for sensitive skin. So I said there were three. So the second thing that you can incorporate into your child's like skincare routine at like a young age would be a mild moisturizer. And it is suggested to do unscented everything, no matter what you're using, because scents can actually irritate the skin as well. It can cause breakouts. It can cause rashes. Like you don't want to make it worse. So unscented moisturizer, something that's lightweight, that is also made for sensitive skin, something that isn't going to, again, disrupt the skin, make it break out, dry it out. And a lot of the time, products that have fragrances actually are known for having a high content of alcohol, which actually breaks out the skin, and it also dries out the skin depending on what kind of skin you have. And then once it dries it out, your face decides that it wants to, start producing more oil, and then you get really, really oily skin and you're trying to combat that. So it is recommended that if you are doing any kind of moisturizer, that it be mild, unscented moisturizer. There's so many products on the market that you can use for your child's skin at the age of 9. And I know, don't get me wrong, I know that like baby products aren't really like grown up or whatever, and they may sound immature to a child at that age, but at the same time, do what is best for your child's skin. Make sure it's for sensitive skin and it's unscented, and make sure it's like a mild wash, a mild soap. Like that's the type of thing that you do want to incorporate into your child's skincare routine. And then the last thing that I was researching was you need an SPF, and they make children's like SPF like all over the place. Like you walk into your local store and you can find child SPF like everywhere. So this isn't anything new. Like you can find children's SPF either in a lotion form or also in a like spray form. And it's important to incorporate SPF into your child's skincare as well. And honestly, that's it. That's all they need. They need a mild moisturizer, a mild facial cleanser, and a mild SPF. And just a side note about SPFs is that certain SPFs tend to be a little bit oily, so just make sure that it meshes well with your child's skin as well if you are applying SPF as well, because they can be pretty oily and they can cause breakouts as well. So just keep that in mind. But they do make SPF for children. You could even get an SPF for babies, and you could use that on your child as well. At the age of like 9, 10, 11, 12, yes, the whole caveat of like it's baby stuff, but at the same time, like you don't want to destroy your child's skin by giving them things that are not made for their skin. So I also researched things to avoid, things that you should not let your child have in their skincare routine, different ingredients, key ingredients that they should not use in their skincare routine. And this is very important. This is like, if there's anything else that you just don't agree with in this video, definitely listen to this part, because this is probably the most important part of the video, are things to avoid so that you don't mess with your child's skin barrier, you don't mess with just anything going on and like, harm their skin in any way. 100% avoid retinoids. Retinoids are actually made for people who are a little bit older, like me. I'm in my 30s. Retinoids are made, and they were made as a way to combat fine lines and wrinkles. Retinoids, not only are they very drying, but it also makes your skin more sensitive to UV damage. And it's literally only typically used for wrinkle repair. Does your 9-year-old have wrinkles? Retinoids are typically used for wrinkle repair and makes your skin super sensitive to UV damage. It's just overall, retinoids are only supposed to be used on those with mature skin. It's also suggested that if you are wanting to incorporate a retinoid into your skincare routine, like most people start like after they turn 30. That was always like a rule of thumb that I was told, was like start your retinoids after you turn 30. You don't really need it in your 20s. And that's another rule of thumb. And if you have a question about retinoids, you can always ask your dermatologist if you have one. And sometimes your PCP will know as well about that sort of thing. But honestly, you're best off asking a dermatologist like what kind of stuff you should start incorporating into your skincare routine at any age. So retinoids, avoid those 100% with a child's skincare routine. So chemical exfoliants. We're talking about things like lactic acid, glycolic acid. These are things that chemically exfoliate your skin. They remove dead skin cells. Yeah, this is getting gross. Adults use chemical exfoliation to help clear pores, fight acne, and smooth the skin. Like that's 100% something to avoid. Again, consult a dermatologist. Like if there's something going on and the like basic 3 aren't meeting the needs of your child's skincare routine, then speak to a dermatologist and they will give you a prescription. They will give you pointers, things that you can actually do for your child's skin that are age appropriate. All right, so the next thing that you really should avoid are certain types of face masks. And the reason why you should avoid face masks, and I've already kind of talked about this a little bit when I was talking about like avoiding scents, avoiding alcohol, those sorts of things. Scents can be very irritating to very young skin, and they also contain high amounts of alcohol, which you don't want alcohol like in any kind of skincare product, especially the scented kind. They can contain high amounts of alcohol, which dries out your skin. And then it can just be very irritating to the skin. But also with these face masks, they tend to have ingredients in them that are just not made for kids. Again, like chemical exfoliants. Like you don't want that in a child's skincare routine. Now, I have a friend, she has a daughter who's a little bit older than my daughter, but a little bit younger than my son. She's like right in the middle, and she loves to do fun like food masks with her daughter, which that's something that is recommended. Like make it fun. There's tons of food masks that you can find online. Like my friend did like a yogurt mask. It was made out of yogurt and honey and like some other things, and they put it on their face. And the beauty of that is if they get it in their mouth, it's not poisonous because it's food, but it's made as a face mask. And she has so much fun with her daughter doing these types of face masks. And there's tons of face mask recipes that you can find online that are strictly made from like yogurt and honey and like natural ingredients that are perfectly safe for your child to put on their face, or like if they accidentally ingest it, it's totally fine for them to do that because it's made out of food. The last thing, I've been saying it a lot in this video, but the last thing that you should 100% avoid with any kind of skincare routine for an adolescent is fragrance. And I feel like I've kind of beat the horse a little bit with this. But again, fragrances can be high in alcohol that dries out the skin, but fragrances can also be very, very irritating to a child's skin. Like when I think about when I had my daughter and my son, one of the things that they tell you is to not use a perfume when your baby is first born because the scent can be very irritating to their baby's skin, and you could literally harm, like they could become allergic to that sort of scent. They could have an allergy to it. Like children are super sensitive to scents. And I'll take that a step further because I mean, this has been experienced in my own home. It's been experienced, when I was growing up. Scents can just be very sensitive to all parts of the body. We can't do scent beads in our laundry. I love the way that scent beads smell. They make our laundry smell like fresh and clean, but my son is allergic to them, so we're not able to use them. And that's a really good example to me of how children are really sensitive to even something as diluted as that in laundry. My son is very highly sensitive to it and we don't use it anymore. And think about that with something that's directly on your child's face that's like really highly scented, and how they react to that. So a child's skin is like super sensitive, and that's something we have to keep in mind. Is because don't get me wrong, I am all for like teaching your children a really good skincare routine, but when it's needed. When their pediatrician is like, okay, they're starting to show signs of acne, signs of puberty, it's time to get them on like a mild skincare regimen. Like I honestly, like I 100% get that. You really don't know, we don't know as a society the outcome of what will happen if these children continue these very vigorous like skincare routines that were made for people in their 20s, 30s, and beyond. Like if your child is having problems with their skin, if they're experiencing, acne, if they are experiencing cystic acne, these are things that we should not be troubleshooting ourselves. They are actually things that we should be consulting physicians on because they went to school specifically for these types of things so that we know, like they are the ones who know what to do. We don't know what to do. And at the end of the day, all your child needs in their skincare routine is a mild moisturizer, a mild facial cleanser, and an SPF. And then if they are in need of something more, if their skin needs something more at such a young age, that's when you talk to your doctor. That is when you talk to your dermatologist. And that's something that we need to get back to the basics of, is that children do not need vigorous skincare routines. They don't need to be walking into Sephora and incorporating retinoids into their skincare routine or ceramides or, exfoliants or lactic acids or anything like that. They don't need these things in their skincare routine because their skin is not mature enough to handle that type of product, and it could do long-term damage on it. And I hope you guys like this video, like this sort of content. If you leave me a comment down below about your thoughts on Sephora Kids. I hope this was informational for you, and I hope you guys consider subscribing before you go so I can see you again. Bye.